Now, a cure for dementia in just over a decade. That's the ambitious goal from the world's leading industrial nations at a global summit in London called To Tackle the Disease. Experts say that more than 135 million people around the world will suffer from the condition by 2050, and that's 3 times the current figure. David Cameron has pledged to double Britain's investment in research, but is seeking a dementia cure really a viable option? Our health and social care correspondent, Victoria MacDonald, has more. And just to warn you, at the start of this report, there is some flash photography.
Good morning.
It has not happened before. Health ministers, charities, drug companies all coming together to discuss a condition that now affects 44 million people across the world.
Good morning.
A condition so common that 1 in 3 patients admitted to a general hospital acute medical ward in the UK now has dementia, delirium or both.
Where would you like to walk to?
Indeed, this is what today's summit is all about. The patients on ward B47 at Queen's Medical Centre in Nottingham, and of course, the 800,000 other dementia patients across the UK. The summit was called by David Cameron as part of the G8 presidency, and by this afternoon they had reached a consensus to seek a cure or a disease-halting therapy for dementia by 2025.
No one here is in any doubt about the scale of the dementia crisis. A new case every 4 seconds, a global cost of $600 billion a year, and that is to say nothing of the human cost. Because it doesn't matter whether you're in London or Los Angeles, in rural India or in urban Japan, this disease steals lives, it wrecks families, it breaks hearts. And that is why all of us here are so utterly determined to beat it.
And there was indeed a sense of optimism in this room that a cure is achievable as long as scientists and governments work together rather than in isolation. All of which was reflected in the communiqué produced at the end of the day. So this is it, a small document with big ambitions, in many ways an historic document put together by the G8 health and science ministers today here at Lancaster House. Not only does it contain a pledge, a hope that there will be a cure by 2025, but there is also a promise of better collaboration, more funding for research, and more sharing of science data in order to fight this dreadful disease. Of course, 2025 is too far away for the patients on ward B47. Without a cure or a treatment, they need the best care possible.
Not long till Christmas now, is it?
So they've developed a new model here. Specialist mental health staff work alongside the medical teams. There's clearest signposting, bays are painted different colours to help with the confusion. And time is spent with the patients, listening to what they and their carers want. In short, being kind.
We've got to try and avoid the sort of the sausage machine approach, the factory approach to getting people through the hospital quickly. These are all individuals who have their concerns and their history and their personality, and we have to make sure that we give them the best care possible.
And the pressure on the NHS is now intense. The cost of caring for dementia patients is greater than for those with heart disease, cancer and stroke combined. A point that was raised at the summit by a delegate with vascular dementia.
What I'd like to know is why we're putting so little money into research. It really is a drop in the ocean. And what has anything come out of the summit that is going to affect me now?
The reason for having this summit is to try and galvanise the international community, because we recognise if we're going to do something as ambitious as finding a cure for dementia or a medicine that actually halts the disease in its tracks, it's not something the UK can do on its own.
And that was very much the theme of the day. Collaboration on all fronts. Research, funding and care. Because the need is simply growing, greater and greater.
And Victoria is in Westminster now. Well, Victoria, that word unprecedented has been used a fair bit today. How unprecedented or even historic is the summit?
Well, certainly the delegates at the summit were describing it as historic, and as I said in that piece, there was an incredible sense of optimism. I spoke to the chief executive of the Alzheimer's Society after the event, and he said he'd never known dementia to be on the agenda in the way it was put there today. They are taking a lot of the lead from the 2005 G8 summit, where they looked at HIV and AIDS, and that was where the massive rollout of antiretrovirals really began, and they feel that they did change the course of that disease. That's precisely what they want to do here, but they are saying, as I said, that this cannot be done in isolation, and they really want people across the globe in the laboratories, so scientists and so on, to stop working in their little cocoons and to come out and share everything they can, because that way we can get towards that cure, that 2025 goal, if you will, that much faster.
It's obviously nice to have this hope on the horizon, but for people who've got Alzheimer's today, it's pretty distressing, isn't it, or dementia indeed?
I mean, that is the sadness in a way, because there are so many people developing dementia, and the problem is only going to get worse. And you saw the patients in the hospital there. There is nothing that can be offered to them at the moment. There is an awful lot of pressure to find something so that the next generation won't have to go through what these people are living through right now.